Oh yeah, Street Fighter 6, let's dive in. Alright, let's kick things off with the visuals. Street Fighter 6 is a knockout when it comes to graphics. I mean, it's like they took the fighters and injected them with a dose of high-def awesomeness. The character models are so crisp, you can practically count the beads of sweat flying off Ryu's brow. The stages are like eye candy, from the bustling streets of Brazil to the tranquil dojos of Japan. Capcom really flexed their graphical muscles here, and it's a visual feast for sure. Now let's talk about the bread and butter of Street Fighter, the combat. The animations are smoother than a well-executed shoryuken. Punches and kicks land with a satisfying thud, and every special move is like a work of art in motion. Whether you're throwing fireballs as Ryu or delivering a sonic boom with guile, the fluidity of the combat animations is next level. It's like a martial arts movie where you're the director, and the combos are your masterpiece. The character selection screen is like a buffet of brawlers. Street Fighter 6 brings back the classics, Ryu, Chun-Li, Jalsum, but it doesn't stop there. They've thrown in some fresh faces too, and each fighter feels unique. It's like having a menu with your all-time favorites, and a few surprise dishes that you never knew you needed. The diversity in fighting styles and abilities adds a layer of strategy that keeps the matches spicy. Now, Street Fighter has never been famous for its deep narrative, but they've given story mode a serious upgrade. It's like they took a crash course in storytelling. Each character's journey feels more fleshed out, with cinematic sequences that add depth to their backstories. It's not an Oscar-worthy screenplay, but it's a step up from the usual "you beat the boss," the end vibe we're used to in fighting games. One thing I love about Street Fighter 6 is the interactive environments. It's not just about bashing your opponent into submission, now you can use your surroundings to your advantage. Slamming someone into a car or bouncing them off a brick wall, it's like the streets themselves are part of the fight. It adds an extra layer of strategy, and let's face it, who doesn't want to see their opponent crash through a market stall? For the rookies and those looking to polish their skills, the training mode is a godsend. It's like having a personal sensei guide you through the intricacies of each character's moveset. From basic combos to advanced techniques, the mode is a comprehensive crash course in Street Fighter mastery. It's not just a tutorial, it's a virtual dojo where you can hone your skills without the pressure of an opponent's fist in your face. Now, let's dive into the online multiplayer. Capcom seems to have listened to the cries of frustrated players from the previous installment. Street Fighter 6's netcode is like a shield against lag demons. Matches are smooth, and the matchmaking system is more intuitive. It's like they finally figured out the secret formula to online brawling without the frustration of dropped inputs or teleporting opponents. It's not perfect, but it's a damn sight better than before. Let's delve into the V-trigger mechanics, a standout feature in Street Fighter 6. It's like they took the essence of the V system from Street Fighter 5 and infused it with a shot of adrenaline. The evolution is palpable. Activating a V-trigger feels like unleashing a dormant power within your fighter. The strategic depth it adds to matches is commendable. You're not just executing a flashy move, you're changing the tide of battle with a well-timed power surge. It's a game changer that elevates the combat experience, making each V-trigger activation feel like a decisive moment in the fight. One of the aspects that adds a layer of complexity to Street Fighter 6 is the character-specific mechanics. It's like each fighter has their own set of keys to unlock hidden potential. From unique counters to specialized combo extenders, these character-specific mechanics contribute to the richness of the gameplay. It's not just about picking your favorite fighter. It's about understanding their nuances and exploiting them to the fullest. Capcom has managed to make each character feel like a distinct entity, and mastering these unique mechanics becomes a journey of its own. While we mentioned the lack of innovation in combat mechanics as a negative, it's essential to highlight the innovative combo system that Street Fighter 6 introduces. It's like Capcom took the traditional combo system, tossed it into a blender, and served us a refreshing smoothie. The emphasis on creativity and adaptability in stringing together combos is a breath of fresh air. It's not just about memorizing sequences, it's about reading your opponent, adapting to their movements, and creating your own symphony of strikes. This innovative approach to combos adds depth to the combat, making each match a dynamic dance of fists and feet. Let's talk about the weather effects, a subtle yet impactful addition to the stages in Street Fighter 6. It's like Mother Nature herself decided to join the brawl. From rain-soaked streets to blizzards in the mountains, the dynamic weather not only adds visual variety, but also impacts the gameplay. Slippery surfaces affect movement, wind alters projectile trajectories. It's a small detail that makes each stage feel like a living, breathing battleground. Capcom deserves credit for injecting a dose of realism into the fantastical world of Street Fighter. Building on the positive aspects, the training mode in Street Fighter 6 is a veritable dojo of improvement. It's like Capcom sat down with a checklist of what the community wanted and said, let's give them everything. From frame data displays to hitbox visualizations, the training mode is a comprehensive toolkit for honing your skills. It's not just about practicing combos. It's about understanding the intricacies of the game mechanics. Capcom's commitment to providing players with the tools they need to level up their game is commendable and ensures that both newcomers and veterans can refine their skills efficiently. The cinematic special moves in Street Fighter 6 are a spectacle to behold. It's like they hired a Hollywood choreographer to design these jaw-dropping sequences. Whether it's Akuma summoning a raging demon or Dalsum stretching his limbs across the screen, the cinematic flair adds an extra layer of excitement to each battle. It's not just about dealing damage, it's about delivering a visually stunning knockout blow. Capcom's dedication to making each fighter's signature moves a cinematic experience is a testament to their commitment to the artistic side of the fighting genre. The introduction of global leaderboards and online tournaments is a boon for the competitive Street Fighter community. It's like Capcom threw open the doors to a global arena where fighters from different corners of the world can clash. The leaderboard system adds a competitive edge to online play, and the ability to participate in tournaments without leaving the comfort of your home is a game changer. It's not just about proving your skills in your local arcade. It's about measuring up against the best globally. Capcom's focus on fostering a vibrant competitive scene is a positive step that ensures Street Fighter 6 will thrive in the esports realm. Now, the negatives. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty. While the character roster is diverse, there are some balance quirks that feel like a fly in the ointment. Certain characters seem to have an upper hand, and it's not just a matter of player skill. It's like bringing a knife to a gunfight in some matchups. Capcom, we love the variety, but let's make sure everyone has a fighting chance without resorting to exploiting imbalances. Street Fighter 6 is a mixed bag. Sometimes it feels like you're sparring with a martial arts grandmaster, and other times it's like beating up a training dummy. The difficulty curve is like a roller coaster, and not always in a good way. It's like trying to predict the weather. You never know if you'll face a hurricane or a gentle breeze in the next round. Consistency, Capcom, that's the name of the game. Now, let's address the elephant in the dojo. Microtransactions. Street Fighter 6 introduces a slew of cosmetic options, and while looking cool is part of the game, the pricing feels like a low blow. It's like paying a premium for a fancy belt in martial arts class. I get it, devs need to make their dough, but let's not turn this into a cash grab. Keep it reasonable and let us earn our spiffy outfits through in-game feats. While the online experience is a vast improvement, there are still occasional hiccups. It's like cruising smoothly on the highway only to hit a pothole when you least expect it. Disconnections mid-match and occasional lag spikes can throw you off your game. Capcom, we appreciate the effort, but let's iron out these wrinkles for a consistently smooth online brawl. As much as I praised the story mode revamp, there are moments when the pacing feels like a slow-motion kick to the face. It's like watching a thrilling action movie, and suddenly the director hits pause for a philosophical monologue. The narrative pacing could use a bit more finesse to keep players engaged without feeling like they're stuck in a cutscene purgatory. For those who prefer going solo, the single-player content feels a bit like a Spartan training regimen. Beyond story mode and the training dojo, there's not much meat on the single-player bones. It's like having a dojo with just a punching bag and no obstacle course. A bit more variety in single-player modes, maybe a revamped arcade mode or challenge scenarios, would add longevity to the solo experience. Let's talk about the soundtrack. While the sound effects during combat are on point, the music feels like a background extra in a martial arts movie. It's not bad, but it lacks the punch that gets your heart racing. Street Fighter is all about intensity, and the soundtrack should be like a battle anthem. Capcom, let's crank up the volume and give us beats that make every fight feel like a cinematic showdown. Now, onto the stages. While the environments are interactive, there's a sense of déjà vu after a while. It's like having a favorite dish every day. It gets old. More stage variety, with different layouts and interactive elements, would keep the fights feeling fresh. A change in scenery shouldn't just be cosmetic, it should impact the strategy and flow of the battles. While the training mode shines, the single-player content still feels like it's stuck in a time warp. It's like Capcom invested heavily in the multiplayer experience, but left the single-player enthusiasts with the bare minimum. A more robust arcade mode, challenge scenarios, or even a narrative-driven solo campaign would breathe life into the single-player realm. Street Fighter has a rich lore. Let's explore it more deeply beyond character-specific story snippets. Back to the cosmetics. While having alternate outfits and skins is a nice touch, the customization options lack depth. It's like being handed a coloring book with only 3 crayons. Capcom, let us dive deep into personalizing our fighters. More options for costumes, accessories, and maybe even visual effects would add a layer of personal flair to each brawler. Building on the positives of the training mode, the tutorial aspect falls short in depth. It's like having a sensei who only covers the basics and leaves you to figure out the advanced techniques on your own. Capcom could enhance the tutorial by providing detailed breakdowns of advanced mechanics, character-specific strategies, and situational awareness tips. A more comprehensive tutorial would benefit both newcomers looking to learn the ropes and experienced players seeking to refine their skills. Let's address the combat mechanics. While the animations are stunning, the core mechanics feel like a familiar combo. Street Fighter VI is like a perfectly executed Hadoken. Powerful, but we've seen it before. It's high time for some innovation in the combat system. Whether it's introducing new mechanics or refining existing ones, let's shake up the formula and keep the fighting experience from feeling like a rehashed sequel. While the character-specific mechanics shine, the overall character development feels like a missed opportunity. It's like Capcom introduced these unique facets, but didn't weave them into a broader narrative for each fighter. A more in-depth exploration of each character's journey, motivations, and connections within the Street Fighter universe would add emotional weight to the battles. Let's not just fight for the thrill, let's fight for a deeper connection to the characters we control. Now let's address the inconsistent audio quality, a surprising hiccup in a franchise known for its impactful sound design. It's like having a soundtrack that switches between high fidelity and low bitrate. The discrepancy in audio quality, especially during certain special moves or background effects, can be jarring. Capcom, in the next round, let's ensure a consistent and high-quality audio experience that complements the visual spectacle. In the midst of intense combat, there are moments when the hitbox detection feels like a puzzle with missing pieces. It's like executing a perfectly timed move only to watch it phase through your opponent. Addressing these occasional hitbox discrepancies would ensure that every move, block, and counter lands precisely as intended. Fine-tuning this aspect would contribute to the overall satisfaction and fairness of the matches. While the dynamic environments are a positive, there are instances where the interactions feel unpredictable. It's like dancing on a stage where the floor occasionally gives way without warning. Fine-tuning the environmental interactions to be more consistent and readable would enhance the strategic aspect of using the surroundings to your advantage. Let's make sure that every slam into a car or bounce off a wall is a calculated move, not a roll of the dice. In an era where accessibility is a growing focus in the gaming industry, Street Fighter VI falls short in terms of accessibility features. It's like hosting a grand tournament but forgetting to install ramps for wheelchair users. Capcom could take a cue from other titles that prioritize accessibility by incorporating features such as customizable controls, colorblind options, and detailed subtitles. The promise of cross-platform play is enticing, but the execution feels like a work in progress. It's like having a party where not everyone received the invitation. Strengthening the cross-platform integration, ensuring seamless matchmaking across different consoles and PC, would truly unite the global Street Fighter community. Let's eliminate the barriers and create a virtual arena where fighters from all platforms can clash without restrictions. While the netcode is an improvement, there are lingering issues that feel like ghosts from the past haunting online matches. It's like banishing one specter only to have another emerge. Resolving the occasional disconnections, addressing lag spikes, and ensuring a consistently stable online experience should be a top priority. The online battleground should be a realm of fair competition, not a struggle against unpredictable connection woes. Returning to the microtransactions, the pricing model still raises eyebrows. It's like having a menu where the prices seem to fluctuate without rhyme or reason. Capcom should revisit the pricing structure for cosmetic items to ensure that players can enhance their fighters without feeling like they're breaking the bank. Striking a balance between revenue generation and player satisfaction is crucial in a post-launch economy. While the story mode received praise, the absence of interactive story choices feels like a narrative opportunity left untapped. It's like reading a book where the pages are already written and you're just along for the ride. Incorporating player choices that impact the narrative outcome would add replay value and a sense of agency to the storytelling experience. Let's not just witness the story, let's shape it with our decisions. Lastly, let's address the post-launch support. While Capcom has a history of refining their titles post-launch, the pace feels like a leisurely stroll rather than a sprint. It's like having a roadmap where the destinations are known, but the journey lacks urgency. Accelerating the pace of updates, addressing community feedback promptly, and introducing meaningful additions would keep the player base engaged and excited for what's next. In conclusion, Street Fighter VI, my fellow warriors, is a complex tapestry of triumphs and tribulations. The evolution of V-trigger mechanics, character-specific intricacies, and the innovative combo system showcase Capcom's dedication to pushing the boundaries of the fighting genre. However, the journey is not without its stumbling blocks, from inconsistent audio quality to netcode woes and the questionable pricing of microtransactions. Capcom, the foundation is solid, but the structure needs refinement. Street Fighter VI has the potential to be a magnum opus in the franchise, but the path to greatness requires addressing the nuances that currently hinder its ascent. As we step into the virtual dojo, let's remember that each critique is not a condemnation, but a call for improvement. Street Fighter VI is not just a game, it's a legacy, a cultural icon that resonates across generations. The fight is not against the game, but for its continued evolution, ensuring that future iterations set the standard for the genre. So, my fellow fighters, let's acknowledge the victories, confront the challenges, and with the spirit of a true warrior, strive for a Street Fighter experience that transcends expectations. May your combos be flawless, your Hadokens unerring, and your journey through the world of Street Fighter VI a memorable odyssey. Fight on.